Hey, good evening, YouTube family. T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you. Still breaking down Lake Texoma tonight. We are on Zone 8. So if you missed all the other zones, just go out to our YouTube channel, look at the Lake Breakdowns playlist, and that will show you all the zones for Lake Texoma, along with all the other lakes that we have out there. And then don't forget, if you want to get a card of the digital files, you can always go out to simplisticfish.square.site and pick those up. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this thing. We're on Zone 8 for Lake Texoma. Here we go. Just like we do on the other videos, let's jump into this first and talk about where the other zones were, just in case you missed the other videos. So Zone 1 is going to be the yellow icons, and the markers that you see, where you see marker 17, marker 14, that is going to be in a future video where we talk about the offshore hotspots. So you'll see those on here, but for the Google Earth waypoint videos that we've done so far, we've gone through zones 1 through 7. That's Zone 1, which is the yellow icons. Or yellow pins. Zone 2 is going to be the blue pins that are over here. And I mentioned that before in the last video. I think this is really, these two areas seem like to be prime areas for this lake. Zone 3, you also have this middle area, which this side, to me, seemed to be more it looked to be more like it could be a more productive side. Zone 4 was up here where the white pins are. Zone 5 is going to be up here where the lighter blue pins are. And then that purplish pink color, that's going to be up for Zone 6. Zone 7 we just went over. That's going to be down here, this purple color. And finally, we're going to get to Zone 8. That's going to be all these red pins. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And then we'll do one more video for Google Earth waypoints where we switch over. We talk about this lighter blue color. That's going to be Zone 9. That'll wrap us up. Then we're going to switch back over and we're going to talk about all the offshore hotspots for this lake. So this is a full detailed breakdown. You got to be a diehard to want to do this, but hey, let's jump into this and let's get going. So I'm going to take off Zone 9 so don't get confused here. And let's start right here on this point and let's just work our way up. So as you can see right here, this is what it looks like in 2021, or the last image that it took was July of 2021. So pretty recently, as I'm recording this video, it is August of 2021. So this is only a month ago. So I'm going to actually take this back. I'm going to click on this little icon up here, and I'm going to take it back to 2014 and see what month I can find in 2014. So I think it's going to be June of 2014. So the lake is pulled down big time at this time. So what we're going to do is we're just going to look for all the good stuff to fish around and the things that look different. And I've talked about this on every one of the Lake Texoma videos. You'll see me label rock a lot. And no, I'm not an idiot. I know there's a ton of rock on this lake, so just saying rock doesn't really mean anything. But where I put those pins are where there's either transition areas or the rock has changed. Maybe it went from lighter rock to heavier rock, or boulders to riprap or something like that, or boulders to sand. So all kinds of different things that can happen. So as you see my pins, even though they do say rock, and yes, they typically are rock, it's not just because it's a rocky bank line. There's something specific around that pin. So let's go ahead and start talking about those. Out here, you've got this point that comes out, and you can see where you start to get a rocky point right here off the edge. So I really like the way this point sets up, and definitely could be a good area to go try to find some fish at. Then moving further up here, you've got an isolated little rock pile right here as well. So I mark that. And then moving further up off this point, there's an old ramp that's in here that's really buried. And it looks like it's got, pretty good concrete around it and everything else. So I could see this being a really good hot spot. And then as you're fishing this, move over here and notice how these rocks are scattered a little bit more. So they're bigger, chunkier rocks. They're not anything like the rest of the bank line that's around it. So you could definitely come up here with a square bill or something like that, bounce it off these rocks, and probably really, get you some pretty good action, catch you some pretty good fish. So then moving over here, you've also got a ramp here, a little bit of isolated rock here as well. So maybe as you're fishing the ramp, there's nothing there, move over to see if anything's relating to this rock in this area. You got some different rock in here, but it's kind of all the same. Back up in here, you've got a ramp, and then some really heavy rock that's off this point with a decent little transition going on right in there. And if you notice, if we scroll in a little bit, you got a break wall there too. And you guys have heard me talk about the break walls. Those are always good areas to fish around. You go up there with a spinnerbait, a spoon, flip around them, all kinds of good stuff you can do around them. They're really good fish attractors, especially this time of year. July, August time frame. So moving up here, we just got a lot of the same thing going on here. So I didn't really mark too much in that area until we got all the way up to here. Now this, I probably should have marked this one because this is kind of a little isolated rock. You notice all this stuff's pretty much the same, and that one's a little bit heavier. So maybe possibly stop here and check these out, these little isolated ones, and see if you find anything. If not, move up here. You've got two ramps that are here. You've got one here and one here, and then you've got a pretty good little point that comes out here with some lighter rock and stuff. So I don't know how well attracted they'd be to that, but that's definitely a point. So you want to at least check it out. You've also got light rock all around this side that you could fish, or you could just come over here and fish this transition area where you see this rock pin. So basically it goes from mud up to this transition area where now you've got a little bit of different rock and stuff like that, a little harder surface. So a lot of times they'll set up right on the edges of these transition areas. So just imagine a line, if you look at that hand and just draw it in through the lake, if that will continue on down outside of that bank, that can be just really good stuff to fish around. So definitely take a look at those. Moving up here, we've got the red clay. Not a lot going on until we get a little bit further up to this point. So I'm going to back up just a little bit so you can see where I'm at. I came off this point now, and now I'm off here more kind of midsection back here. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit and show you guys. There's some rock right in here that starts right here and goes to right here. So just really shallow rock, probably square bill, something really small, or something shallow, not small. Could be small as well, but anyways, throw it shallow and just kind of see if you can pick something up right there. I think it's kind of man-made riprap type stuff, but the nice thing about it is there's nothing around it. It's just mud and dirt all around it. That's the only thing really that's in that area that they would be attracted to. So then moving here, you got the same thing, that same type of riprap. It goes from here and goes around to this edge of this point. And then you've also got rock, or really that should say ramp, right in here. Let's go ahead and change that. It'll let us. Got a ramp there as well. So now that one's fixed. And going down here, didn't see too much. That creek channel, not a lot going on, so I skipped over it. Went over here to the bridge. Obviously, you always want to fish around the bridge pillars. Go to the bridge pillars and fish around them, scan around them, see what you can find. There's crappie, there's bass, there's white bass. There's all kinds of activity going on the bridges all the time. And if you can find a bridge where you've got a creek channel running through it, which a lot of them do have a creek channel somewhere running through it, set around those pillars that are closer to that creek channel, and I guarantee you're going to catch some fish. All right, so off my little bridge tangent, let's move over here. We've got another ramp here, kind of the same rock going on here. So for me, obviously, if you were just wanting to pound the bank, you'd have some pretty good rock to fish around in this area. But moving over here, I like this one because it's different. Everything else was kind of the same. And then this is really, if you're coming up this bank line, this is going to be the first hard spot that you would come to. So I marked this as a rocky spot. You can see it's nice and hard there. There's some laydowns and stuff around it, but I would really focus more on right in here and right in here off this edge. And then obviously going up and fishing the points. Never really want to overlook the points. Maybe not fish them, but at least scan them and see if there's any activity out there. So I'm going to scroll on down this bank line, and as we get into here, let me back up a little bit again and show you where I'm at. So now I'm down here in this pocket. We're going to move on in here and take a look. There's some pretty good rock piles that come off of here. So right here, a real good rock pile coming off the edge of that point, and not, again, sandy and dirt around it, so not a lot going on. And then if you get back in this pocket, there's some debris that you could fish around as well. Not too much going on, but look at this. Real good rock pile right here. There's a little bit right in here too, and nothing around it. So there's no sticks, no stumps, really just nothing. So I mean, you could come over here and fish this point and probably pick up a few fish off this point, and then just pull over and fish this point as well. If they're not at either one of those points, maybe come out here a little bit deeper and see if maybe they've just pulled off. But I imagine there's a hard area here and there's a hard area here, so they've got to be somewhere in that area. All right, so moving over. Also got a few rocks coming off this point. Pretty good little pile there. Real nice pile there off of that point as well. And then moving down here, you've got a decent little laydown. I'm not going to be able to zoom it in correctly, but decent little laydown there that will take you, a decent laydown that you could fish around, find crappie, stuff like that. So then moving over here, next thing that we found would be the rock coming right off of this point. So it looks really good. I like the way it looks. Let's see if I can change the way this view is. And then also right in here, you've got some pretty good rock coming off of this point. So these two little points right in here, along with those other 2 points that we were just talking about right here, I like both of those. I like them a lot. So definitely take a look at those. And then moving over here, we're going to come over and we're going to come back into this marina and look what's going on here. So first thing we see here is a pretty good rock pile coming off of this point. So I like that. And then as we move back in here into this marina, there's a ramp there. It really doesn't look that good. There's not a lot of rock on the ramp or anything like that, but it's a marina as well. So fish around the marina, maybe check the ramp out. You never know. Sometimes those ramps don't look that good and then they end up being the best ramps to fish. You've also got some debris that's back in this area as well. So go ahead and mark that. Let's go on up a little bit further. When we get up in here, I really like this point. So if I zoom back, you'll notice, I'm going too far, you'll notice just dirt again, and then all of a sudden you've got a hard spot, which is right on that point as well. So double bonus, hard spot and a point, so you definitely want to go and take a look at that. When you get a little bit further back in this pocket, there's some rock that's back in here. Zoom in a little bit and show it to you. Right off of this point, there's nothing else around it. You got rock right here, and if you notice right here, you've got a little rock going on here as well. And then if we move further up, we've got a lay down here, a lay down in this area, and another lay down in there. So 3 different lay downs that you could fish around. All look really, really good. So let's pull back out. Let's move up just a little bit further. Next thing we find here is another rock pile. So again, not a lot going on in these bank lines, and then all of a sudden you'll just hit like this magical looking rock pile. So definitely use these points to your advantage and be more effective, be more efficient, because you'll be able to just hit the prime spots on these bank lines. So this is a really prime spot because you've got the rock there as well. And then if we move over here, this is a little bit harder to tell because of the shadows and things. But notice here you've got some debris going on down here, and it looks like a rock pile or something going on right in here. So check that out. Also check out that lay down that's right there. And then move it over off this point. There's some additional rock coming off the edge of this point. So see, if you pulled up and let's say it was, I don't know, 2021 again, let's go back to there. You're going to be looking at this point and you're going to say, man, there's just nothing here. But if you really pull it back and you look and see what we're looking at, you'll notice that that point on the left that we're looking at, it's probably not that good because it doesn't have a lot going on. It's just mud. It's not pointed or anything. No ledges coming off of it. It's not even hardly tapered very well. It just doesn't look that good. And if you were in the water, you'd have no idea. But if you went over here, this one kind of looks the same way, right? If you looked at it on a map, it would look the same way, just not a lot going on. But this is the hard one, and this is the soft one, so the fish are going to relate over here. So this is all good stuff. Definitely take this stuff into consideration when you're out there fishing. It can definitely help you. And you'll avoid fishing areas that really are not prime spots to find fish. Yeah, you might find 1 or 2 fish roaming around over there, but your prime spots are going to be those harder spots. All right, so then moving back in here, we get into this area right in here, and you'll notice sandy, starts getting a little bit harder, and then all of a sudden you get this random rock pile that's right here. So pretty shallow one there, but worth checking out for sure, especially if you're just hitting these rock piles. Then moving over here, you've also got another one right in here. You got another one back in there. And you got a few more that are back here. These are like just little, again, random rock piles amongst a bunch of mud. So you know they're going to attract fish. You know they're good spots. It's just, do you want to take the time to go back there and fish 4 different rocks, 4 different rock piles, 5 different rock piles? And my guess would be yes, I'd definitely go back there and check it out. And if you ended up finding the fish back there, that could be the best place for you to go. And no one's going to go back there because it appears that there's nothing back there. All right, so moving on up, we got a ramp here. We've also got some rock that comes out here. So it's like this softer area, so kind of a flat top, and then all of a sudden you get this break that's out here. That's where the rock starts. So look out here right off the edge of this break. We saw this earlier back on zones 1 and zone 2 where those breaks were, so definitely look at that area. They even come over here and look at this too. I don't think I saw that the first time that was coming through there. And then I'm going to move back up here. There's some laydowns that are here that are kind of hard to see, especially when my computer can't keep up with me. So we got a laydown right there. That one looks really good. Pretty good size too, and not a lot of other things in the area. And then if you move back over here, we've got some rocks that are right here, making a pretty decent, like little bitty ledge. But it's a hard spot. So definitely want to look at that. And you got a laydown right beside it. So laydown and a hard spot, that's a good combination. And then a hard spot right off the edge of this point as well. So before I go any further, I'm just going to back up a little bit and show you where I'm at. So we've made some progress. We came all the way from here and we're all the way back up here to this point. So let's keep moving. And we're going to get back in here close to these docks or marinas, whatever this thing is here. This looks like a really good ditch. If you notice on this one, you can see the shade right in this area. And anytime you see that, you know you've got some type of a ledge or some type of a ditch. And the guys that get to fish this lake a lot, they're like, this is not a ledge or a ditch. You got to remember, like, I've been fishing in North Texas for the last 10 years. So any type of break, even if it's like 6 inches, that's a ledge to me or a drop off. So when I see shade, I immediately think there's a drop there. So anyways, I think that looks like a good ditch. I would definitely go look at it and see if the fish are relating down to it. Also, when you're over there, you've got some rock that's in here. You got some additional rock in here. And then as we move back in here, you've got another ditch. Now, this one didn't look as good, but it does still have that shade. So you can tell there's some type of a drop that's going on around this area, especially this one right here. You can see there's some type of a drop going on right in there. Now, moving back here, we've also got another rock pile that kind of makes this little underwater point here. So I really like that. And then there's a boat over here on this one, but there's a laydown that's right here. He's probably like, man, I wish the lake wasn't down so low. This is my honey hole. This is probably why it's a honey hole, because he's got a couple different laydowns here. And then he's got a hard spot right here off the point as well. So definitely take a look at that one. Moving back here, a couple more things to look at. You got a laydown right there, another one here. Some more debris that's down in here that you could look at. There's some tires and stuff like that. Couldn't really tell exactly what all this stuff was, but there's definitely some debris here. There's that tire there, and this looks like it could be a potential brush pile, like maybe a crappie pile, something like that somebody put in there. Then moving back here, we've got a ramp, and then this ditch looks pretty interesting too. Notice the shade lines again. So worth checking out. Again, not as obvious of an area. If you pull up the water, that's not going to even show up. You're not going to know it's there, but look back there and just see if there's something relating back to that. And if you get way back in here, you'll notice there's some rock way back here and some drains. And it's a lot deeper here. Everything else is pretty much dried up except for this area. Might be worth coming back there and looking at it and just see if you can find anything there. All right, then moving on up here, we've got some debris that's right in here. Or can't really tell what it is. Almost looks like an old dock piling or something like that. I couldn't really tell. Maybe even possibly like a old foundation. It was just really, really hard to tell exactly what that was. All right, so then moving over here, we've also got some rock that's back here with some additional debris. So when I pulled the water up, this is actually all the way under the water. So debris and stuff like that, all kinds of stuff for you to get hung up on, but also all kinds of stuff to go catch fish on. And then moving over here, you've got a ramp that doesn't look like it gets used very much. So you might want to check it out. The only thing I don't like about this ramp is it doesn't have all the rocks and stuff that we talk about on the edges of them that usually is where they like to relate to. So I'm going to move over here. We're going to come off of this point and we're going to come further up here. So I'm going to stop again, pull back, and just show you guys where I'm at. So I'm right here. And let's keep going up here. A couple different things to look at. You got a laydown that's right there. You've also got this interesting little ledge that's off the bank here. So if you're up here pounding the bank, you're probably missing the sweet spot, which is right behind you. So check that out. Also check out this little rocky area. You've got some laydowns in here as well. And then we get up here on this point, and it's really just a rock ledge. I put rock here, but it's really rock from here to here. You can tell there's a ledge that's going on. So a lot of people are going to come up here and fish this riprap. But really, I think your better spot is a little bit further off the bank and more right here around this ledge where the harder spot actually starts. This is man-made, and this is a little bit more, I guess you could say, natural. All right, so keep moving on down. Get in here. We've got some additional rock off of this point that you could look at, and a creek channel that's back in here. Let me get back in here. Looks pretty decent. It's got some pretty good curves to it. It's still got water in it. Got a good bend here with some rock. Come back in here. Not any rock there, but a good bend there as well. You got a lay down that's right in the middle of that creek channel you could check out. So maybe worth going back in there and checking out depending on what time of year it is. Also coming up here, you've got these random rock piles again. So, you know, the dirt bank, and then all of a sudden rock pile, rock pile, rock pile. So those hard spots are what you want to look for. You're going to continue to see the same thing as you move up here. You've got some additional rock that's out here. So right off this ledge, and this is a pretty decent little transition area. So maybe check this little point out in here and then come over here and see if that transition area continues. If it does, they could set up right in here as well. All right, so I'm going to move back over here. The next thing that we're going to find is some more rock coming off of this point. That'd be cool to check that out. Just see if you could find anything back in there. Got some debris and things in here, but I couldn't tell what it was. I didn't really mark it. And you got a creek channel back here, but this one doesn't look as good. Notice how there's not a lot of break, not a lot of contours or anything like that. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd mess with that one. Moving back in here, we've also got some random just rock piles going on. Zoom in. Got some right there. Another little pile right in here, and I think there was one more. I thought there was one more right up here on the corner. It was debris. So you've also got some debris that's right out here, almost like a little island. This is what this looks like. Maybe just a little abnormal hump out here in the middle of this whole thing. You've also got a creek channel back here as well. So maybe come back here. That's going to be a seasonal thing for sure. And then what do you know, we've got a boat off of this secondary point back here as well. And you can see this one makes a little bit of a ledge. Something's going on just right in here. Not the whole thing, but just right in there where I put ledge. So go back there and check that out. Also makes me curious when I see a boat on it too on Google Earth. So then moving down here, I came off this point, long, flat point, but not a lot of hard surface on it, no debris, nothing or anything like that, until you get off of this side of it. So when you move over to this side, you start seeing the debris and stuff like that. And some of this stuff could be birds as well. I'm not sure what all this stuff is, but definitely look in this area. Just check it out. Then moving over here, we've got some laydowns right there. You've also got these little rocky humps that look really interesting. They just go up and down, and you've got a couple of them. You got one there and one there. I think there might have been another one up here. Yeah, there's another one right in here. So check all these out. Check out these hard spots. Also these laydowns that are over here. These little rocky points are worth checking out. You know, and this would be pretty easy because you could just kind of scan down this whole side and just see which one they're relating to. If they're relating to that rock, then you can skip the laydowns and just go scan for the rocks, or just go fish around those rocks. You've also got a pretty good transition area going on here. Totally different bank line. What happens right here. So somewhere out of here, you could almost follow that line you see on my screen and see if that transition area is right in that area. You've also got some laydowns back in here. Starts getting a little bit shallower as we move further back in here. We've also got some rock that's back off this point. You'll see right here. Some additional rock off of this point too. So these are just hard spots, really, in otherwise just a really soft area. You've also got some laydowns that I've marked for you guys there. And then back here, I marked check because I wasn't really sure what the heck this is. But it looks like big laydowns, maybe some kind of a debris or something. Wasn't really sure, but check that out. You've also got a little bit of creek coming in there as well. So you've got moving water that might be worth going and looking at in there. And then back in here, you've got basically just a creek channel that'll take you back into here, all the way back up in here. And this one actually looks like it's got some pretty good water in it. Now again, real shallow area, so be careful when you get back in here. But might be worth going up in there and seeing, especially during certain times of the year. So that really finishes us up for zone 8. We've got one more zone to go, guys, and we'll be finished with this thing. And then we can go and talk about some offshore hotspots and go talk about a different lake, which I'm actually pretty excited about. I think I'm done with Lake Texoma as far as breakdown. So, hey, stick around until next time. We will break down zone 9 on our next video. Please, if you can, hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps us out a lot. Keeps our channel growing, keeps us funded, all that good stuff. And until next time, I hope you catch your BB. Take care, guys.